Welcome to Half the Battle.
It's finally time to get back to the last Sunbow G.I.Joe miniseries, Arise Serpentor Arise. And we'll be looking at episode 3, called, Arise Serpentor Arise Part 3. Yeah, I still can't get over the fact they ditched naming the individual episodes like in earlier miniseries. The story so far is that Cobra is on an unprecedented winning streak against the Joes, beating them at every turn and getting the DNA needed to create Serpentor. Well, they have to win, don't they? Otherwise, no Serpentor, and the series would be called Arise? No, Serpentor doesn't arise. And I'd like to say once again how wild it is that the plot is Cobra desecrating and destroying dead bodies to get that DNA.
Saturday morning cartoons, everybody!
Anyway, the episode begins with the end of Castlevania as Dracula's castle crumbles. Beachhead and Mainframe, who were inside, try to survive the collapse by taking shelter in the Tomb of Vlad Tepes. Empty now because Cobra's DNA extractor made the body disintegrate.
Since that's obviously how DNA extraction works.
Meanwhile, in Soviet Russia, the Joes and the October Guard are fighting a losing battle against Cobra's bats and snow serpents, allowing one to get Ivan the Terrible's DNA, and holy crap, they actually show a dead body! On the G.I.Joe cartoon! Damn! A firebat gets away with the sample, and the snow serpents just surrender?
We'll be freed when Cobra conquers the world.
That's very optimistic of them considering Cobra's track record.
Meanwhile, and expect me to say the word meanwhile a lot, Sergeant Slaughter is heading to the tomb of Genghis Khan, but runs into trouble.
Take cover! It's Cobra!
Sergeant Slaughter, are you under attack?
You know, Hawk, old boy, I think he just might be.
You're breaking up, Sergeant. We've lost contact.
General Hawk, stating the obvious since 1982.
Meanwhile, see, told ya, Wetsuit and Leatherneck are guarding, some water in surprisingly red devilfishes with Shipwreck. They're actually on top of Alexander the Great's burial site, where Torpedo and Deep Six are on duty. Soon, Destro arrives with hydrofoils, and I think that explains the red devilfishes. The animators got confused about the color since morays are red. A battle ensues, and I have to wonder why Wetsuit, you know, the guy in the wetsuit, who's a diver, isn't down below with the other divers. Surprisingly, given how this miniseries is playing out, Cobra loses the engagement, so they attack a tanker as a diversion, allowing Destro to get underwater.
I'm going down to give Deep Six and Torpedo some backup.
Finally, Wetsuit does the job he was hired for.
Forward! We've got them outnumbered!
They have the Shark though, you know, an actual submarine. That'd even the odds just a bit, I would think. Destro uses a foam bomb, yeah sure, whatever, to get rid of the Joes, and he gets the sample. The show remembers Slaughter was under attack, so we finally cut to that. He gets buried as if he was wrestling Triple H for the belt by the Crimson Twins. Or so it seems, because as Mindbender is trying to get Sun Tzu's DNA, he just drives up and attacks him.
Cobra Vipers, attack! Cobra!
Okay, I have notes.
Cobra Vipers, attack!
Look, he's technically right, these are Vipers, but they're the Stratoviper kind when it's pretty clear these should have been the regular Vipers. It doesn't make sense for a bunch of pilots to engage in hand-to-hand combat on the ground. It's just bizarre. Also, why don't they have guns? And it's not like they needed to feature the Stratoviper so heavily here, since they came with the Night Raven, a thing that'll sell pretty well on its own, I think.
Oh, and there's this.
Yeah, there's an actual Viper there who changes clothes like a Superman to become a Stratoviper. Oh well, at least he had a gun. When did this grave-robbing cartoon turn into Looney Tunes? Mindbender gets the DNA and they leave, but the Sarge, in what's not his brightest ever move, jumps up and hangs on to the trouble bubble. Hawk and the other Joes arrive to help, and Slaughter manages to fight Mindbender, grab the sample, and then accidentally breaks it. Meanwhile, Beachhead and Mainframe are found alive and well in Dracula's tomb, and have the funniest line in the whole series.
I want to talk to you about your deodorant. I don't use deodorant. That's what I want to talk to you about.
Meanwhile, Cobra Commander gloats about Mindbender's failure.
Your little experiment is deader than disco! Deader than disco? I could have been a great stand-up comedian.
Okay, this is a nice little in-joke if you know his voice actor, Chris Latta, actually was a stand-up comedian as well as an actor. Since they need DNA to replace Sun Tzu's, a great military guy, Mindbender proposes to get the DNA of today's greatest soldier, General
Sergeant Slaughter!
Right, Slaughter. That doesn't make any sense. It should have been Hawk. Let's just move on.
Cobra struck the tombs of Julius Caesar, Geronimo, and Rasputin.
Remember back in part 1 where I said Julius Caesar was cremated? Yeah, good luck getting DNA from that. Also, Rasputin's body was burned by the Bolsheviks. Though, fun fact, his dick was preserved and is in a museum in St. Petersburg. So, that would have made a very weird cartoon segment if they wanted to get DNA from that. Hawk has rallied the Joes to protect Genghis Khan's tomb since that's the last one Cobra's after. And they finally figure out what the hell Cobra is up to since, remember, up until now, they had no idea why Cobra was playing grab-ass with a bunch of corpses. Though they think the plan is to create an army of super soldiers, not a leader, which actually would be a better plan than the one Cobra has. Soon they come under attack and a pretty good battle unfolds. Though here a stun is manned by ordinary Vipers instead of the motor variety. Look, I blame the animators a little, but also Hasbro for calling half of Cobra something something Viper.
You can see how that can cause confusion.
The Joes managed to drive off the attackers, for now. In fact, Mindbender explains the first attack was just a diversion to lull the Joes into a false sense of security, I guess? Their next attack is by that huge Cobra plane that really should have been a toy itself. The Joes hit it with everything they got, so it looks like it's gonna crash right into the tomb. I say looks like because they faked the damage to get close to the site while the Joes evacuated. This gives them enough time to grab the tomb like it's a prize in an arcade claw game. Sergeant Slaughter, who seems to be fond of jumping on things that go flying, gets on the coffin so he gets taken, all according to Mindbender's plan. The commander interferes though, trying to get rid of the Sarge, and the episode ends with him about to be thrown out of the plane.
To be continued.
And that was Arise, Serpentor Arise Part 3. It was another great episode, animation errors or bizarre animation choices notwithstanding. Like I said at the beginning, Cobra is supposed to win, but it was good to see the Joes get a few combat victories and have them, well, Slaughter on his own really, thwart one DNA heist at the very least. So things seemed a little more balanced. After all, you can't have the Joes lose every time, it would look very silly.
So we're past the halfway point of the miniseries, and I'm looking forward to the rest. Well, I'll see you next time, everybody, and hey, why not like, share, and subscribe if that's your thing.